What is up, Van Goat Flippers, whatever the freak you want to call yourselves? I messed it up yet again. It's the intro. What are we going to do? Anyway, I'm sitting here with Ryan O'Leary, bassist of Fit for a King, a.k.a. Tuck. And you also do a couple other things. You are a podcaster as well as far as this year goes. So welcome to the crew.
Sir.
And then
Thank you.
you also have a little, you dabble in this other kind of company called Feature X, which we'll get into later.
Yeah. I also have another band that fits
Right.
your narrative very well called Off-Road Minivan, and we have quite a few Vanflip shirts and stuff of our own, which I'll tell you about it later.
Yeah, we will get. Yeah, I was going to definitely bring that up too later on. I haven't checked out that band as far as like listening to it, but I have checked out Fit for a King for a long time, so it is. We're well versed on that.
Far softer.
Indie rock, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like
rock.
early 2000s worship scene. Fucking, if you liked Armor for Sleep and Jimmy Eat World and shit like that, you'll like it.
And
because I'm 32, so I'm like, I grew up in that era, so it's not. I'm not like doing it to be like a fucking dick. It's just have what me and my friends are all 30, so we write songs that sound like we're 30.
Adult contemporary rock.
100%.
A new version of adult contemporary rock. It's not going to be that like Huey Lewis and the News type corporate rock stuff.
Yeah, we wish we could be Coldplay, but we're just like not because we like playing in drop tunings.
Well, that's always good, and I'm sure that started a long time ago. And you weren't a founding member of the band, but you've been on 4 of the 6 records that the band has put out, and you stepped into the fold. Correct me if I'm wrong, but sometime in the year 2014, right?
Yes, sir. 7 years last month.
And how did that transpire? Like, how did that come about? Because you live in New York, right? And are you from New York?
Yes, I grew up in the Hudson Valley in upstate New York. I currently reside in Brooklyn, and I had a buddy of mine. His name's Chris Aiken, and he used to tour manage for Sworn In and Thy Art Is Murder. And he knew the Fit guys from the touring circuit. And then they also played Poughkeepsie a few times and got to know my friend Jeff, who I co-founded Featured X with. And the both of them kind of put a word in there for me and just said, hey, if you're trying people out, give this guy a shot, because the bass player had kind of ghosted. And so I did a bunch of pre-pro. I worked on a couple songs for the new record. I sent over a bunch of songs that I had written myself. I did acoustic covers of stuff. I did just like raw iPhone videos of me singing along to things. So it's like, hey, this is no auto-tune, nothing. This is just what you're getting. And after about like 4 months of talking, they hit me up one day and were like, hey, how soon do you want to do this? Like, how soon can you get here? And I was like, I don't know, how soon do you want me? And they're like, is 4 days okay? And I had kind of warned my family and my friends that I lived with, because I lived in this house with like 7 other people at the time. It's pretty wild.
Typical New York story, yeah, right?
Yeah. And so I was just like, all right, I took my car off the road, put everything in my parents' house, and just bounced. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll see you guys in like 2 weeks. If they hate me, then I'll, maybe I'll see you later. I don't really know what's going on, but I'm going to go for it. And learned like 9 songs in a week, did a 2-week run to New Jersey with Kublai Khan and Sirens and Sailors. And then we went and made Slave to Nothing in New Jersey.
Well, at least you had to do that kind of close to your home base a little bit.
Oh, it was great. We actually, the last show we played on the run was Skate and Surf. The day before that was in Albany. And because my guys are so nice. They're the sweetest boys on the planet. And in, sweet Texas boy fashion, before the last song, which, the show had, 70 people there at some shit place in Albany. So it's not like we're doing something banging, but they do a quote unquote like encore type thing and announce that they're going to have me join the band in front of my close friends and my family and stuff. So it was just very special, where I was like, I think these people care about me,
right?
And so we've always had a really great trust in regard to stuff like that. And I'm just lucky. I mean, I guess the way we view it, because I always make the joke of, man, you guys did all the grunt work, put out a record and got signed, and then I got to just join the band. It was fucking cool.
Yeah, you weren't there for the independent years that they were in. They were already signed to Solid State by the time you walked into the role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had put out Creation Destruction and done their full touring circuit, 18 months after Creation Destruction. And but they always mention, well, you're at, because I'm actually the oldest in the band, and they were like, well, you've done it, you just didn't do it with us. And I was like, okay, like, respect, thank you. That's kind of you to view. So, they've always kind of treated me like I've been here since the beginning, just because for the most part, we've done just about everything together. Mm-hmm. So it's been nice. And, Bob doesn't tour with us anymore, but he's still in the band. And Daniel, and even times when he wasn't in our band, we've still toured with him a lot. So, we have a nice family atmosphere going on. But yeah, I was a lucky son of a bitch, honestly. Like,
it's like that movie Rockstar kind of, but in like in a much smaller sense,
Yeah, in a very much more like, coming off the early 2000s, like metalcore Christian thing. It was like, yes, Solid State. That's so cool. Because I was a huge Under Oath stan.
Of course.
Stuff like that, So it was very cool.
It's kind of strange because, like, on the last couple episodes here, we've had quite a few Solid State or ex-Solid State bands on the podcast. So, it's been interesting. I mean,
what'd you do, Prada or something?
No, we had. Oh man, I'm gonna goof it up here now because I probably won't remember all of them. But we had Zao on recently. We had August Burns Red, who obviously is not on Solid State.
No, anymore. They're Fearless.
Fearless now, yeah, but they were on Solid State, and then. I'm fucking blanking out here like I told you I would. But we had a couple, and it's just been interesting. Like, Zao obviously was, I don't know if you listened to it or if anyone who's listening to it.
I haven't listened to the episode yet.
Right,
no.
That's what I'm talking about, not the band. Obviously, if you're in the scene and you haven't listened to Zao, I don't know what the heck you're doing with your life. But, they had an interesting thing where they would have to, like, toward the end of their career with Solid State, or with the tenure with Solid State, they'd have to start, like, kind of misinforming the record label about what their lyrics were about, which I found very interesting. And I don't know if that's common knowledge.
Not so much the case anymore, just because of the way music's gone, where, because with, like what Featured X is all about and stuff too, I constantly am looking at young bands. And the reality is, if you just tried to sign quote unquote Christian bands to a label these days, especially in our scene, good fucking luck. Like, that's not, it's so few and far between. And so it's the idea of what the label is down to release has expanded a lot. It's more just, I'd say, non-offensive music. Like, we still don't cuss, but most of our music isn't faith-based, quote unquote.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because not that I never had shunned Solid State or the bands on Solid State, even though, like, I grew up not in a religious household, but I, like, sought it out as a youngster for some reason. Mm-hmm. And then I spent a lot of time going to, I was Catholic, I was in a Catholic church, so I would go, like, middle school and high school, I would do, like, the whole confirmation situation, and then shortly after that, I started, like, I would be there like 3 times a week or whatnot. For some kind of class or like hang out or whatever, or like including like your church on Sunday, so that was the 3rd time. But I'd ask these questions, and, like, obviously, I'm an inquisitive person. I ask a lot of questions about any and everything. My friends get super annoyed with me all the time because I'm like, I'm trying to understand it even better than, you're explaining it. But I started asking a bunch of questions, and they started getting really upset with me. So I was like, okay, this isn't for me, I don't think.
Dude, yeah, like, going off that kind of topic, I guess, because I definitely went through a period of time where I had a similar thing. My big thing was the forgiveness. And I grew up in a Lutheran church, Protestant, quote unquote. So it was a lot more loose than Catholicism.
Oh, yeah.
And, my pastor would shoot it to me pretty straight, where he's just like, well, dude, like, come on. You're just like, you want to do the right thing if you can do the right thing. That's what we're trying to get at here, essentially. Yeah. And he wasn't so like, yes, he was in the whale and he survived. Right. And, all this kind of stuff, where I didn't grow up in a sense of taking it as literal as a lot of people do, which then so many people will be like, well, you're not a Christian. We'll be like, dude, Jesus was definitely a guy on the planet. I just don't know if he had superpowers or not.
Right, yeah.
But when I read this thing, it makes me want to be a good person. So that's more so what I was getting at, where it's such a weird thing to discuss, because I think anyone with with religion in general, you have to take it with a grain of salt because there's a ton of religions around the entire planet.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many different idols or things that people worship. Some of them got the same guy in this book and that book, and some are really similar. And we're all going for the same kind of thing. Maybe it gets a little crazy to the right or to the left, but essentially we're all like, yo, you do like really good stuff. You go into the mythical sky thing.
Yeah.
And that's just, I just want to be a good person, you know, and I'm not all the time. And that's why it's really nice to have something where you're like, right. Okay, that was a little bit over the line. And that's just where it's helped me. But I've never been so headstrong to take you on that I'd say that one way is the only way.
I like that trap reference,
like,
that guy.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Favorite band. So it's... Here, we're starting this conversation off real fucking fun for everybody.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Yeah, you know, it's such a weird thing. I just never want to be exclusive into the possibility of what anything is capable of. I am just here to try to live a nice life on this planet and be kind to people. And when I'm not, I want something that helps me to veer back a bit, I suppose. And that's what that's done for me. But most people, like, you go down, like, first time I went down south and you start talking about the shit that I'm into, people are like, oh, no, you're a terrible person. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, probably. But I always refer to it as like some Soprano shit. You know what I mean? Where you're like, I know I whacked that guy, but 7 Hail Marys. Yeah, right. Fuck you. And I'm a good to go. Heaven. Yeah. And that's cool. So
that sounds like my upbringing, kind of, you know, the Catholic situation. That's kind of what it sounds like. No, I mean, and it's cool. Like, and again, when I was in my early teens, like 15 years, you know, I was not driving yet, but I was almost driving, and I had all these questions and all these things pop up, and you know, and I was like, these stories in this book don't really make sense, and I didn't have the, you know, the pastor or the guidance of the person that you had, where it was like, they wanted it to be like literal. I felt like, you know, like I was like, so you're telling me like the boat had every animal on it, 2 of every animal? I'm like, I can't even understand. I can't fathom that. I can't fathom the size of that boat, you know, and getting all these, you know, so that's a whole other thing. And so I just decided at one point, you know, I'm just going to live a positive life. I'm not going to be a dick. And I wasn't a dick prior, but I was like, I'm just going to be a good dude. And if for some reason I'm not a good enough dude to not make it in, then I don't make it in. And if it's only because I don't believe in this or the other, I don't make it in, then obviously it wasn't probably for me. But
I 100% agree with you. And I just never want to see conflict over something that I feel is deemed to be individualistic. But I just prescribe to the Church of John Joseph and, you know, trying to be PMA a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I think as life continues on, you get older, you meet more people, you lose more people. Things change. You know what I mean? Like, you can't live you can live an idealistic life to some extent. You can dream, that never stops, but you have to also live in reality where kindness is going to get you the farthest for sure. And people that choose to think otherwise, maybe it'll give you monetary gain or stuff like that, but you still suck. Yeah. You still fucking suck. That's it.
Yeah. I don't even try to like push anything on anybody. If someone asks me or something like that, then I'll say like, oh, well, like lately here, I've been super obsessed with like the universe type stuff and like where we come from and all that other stuff. And then like part of me is like, man, we were talking about something previously to this, to hopping on the podcast, but I really would like to, I'm really looking forward. I'm not in a rush.
Earth is flat.
Right. No, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens after you die. Right. I'm not in a rush to get there, but like, in my life right now, I'm like, really like, man, energy just doesn't go away somewhere. And this is getting into a really weird topic for this podcast, but energy, right?
Doesn't go anywhere. Let's fucking go there. Yeah.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan podcast. But energy doesn't go anywhere. So like, where does like all this go? Like, this is a meat suit, right? So it's a meat suit, and like, where does my personality and the energy inside me go? And that's where I think I'm way interested in now, and I'm having a lot of conversations in my friend group and all this about like consciousness and like what is consciousness and what is it all about, and so
It's interesting. I guess, if you come from any form of a religious background, right? That's essentially what you're thinking about is the afterlife and what you where you could go and what it could be. And definitely as I've gotten older, I think I've come more into a space similarly to what you're describing, where I am very curious. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily scared of that. The biggest thing I have a problem getting over is the idea of living while people I love pass on, and that creates more stress, I guess, for me, if we're gonna get real fucking weird with it. But I think about it a lot. It's a lot of fun to think about, and I think that if you get too scared about it or hopped up about it, that's no fun. Like, I want it's the same thing when people are like, aliens don't exist. That's a fucking dumb thing to say, only because it's not fun. Yeah. You're being fucking boring, dude. I don't give a fuck. I want Godzilla to exist. I want aliens to exist. Do I want Godzilla to come and nuclear blast my whole city? Absolutely not. Please don't, Godzilla. But if you exist, that's still pretty fucking cool.
If you pop up out of the ocean, that's cool too. Like just hang out there though.
Yeah, I don't, Pokemon, would that be cool? Absolutely. Or Digimon, sure. Whatever.
Yeah, aliens would be really cool.
Fun. Aliens would be so cool.
They're probably here already though. They're probably just already here and everything. And again,
well, there's the reptiles on Epstein Island, and the Earth is flat. And if you go inside, there's the giant redheaded people, and then
get the cave people living down in the caves.
Cave people, the troll cave people, and they guard the gold.
Yeah, well, they have to. Magma. Who else is going to guard it?
The giant.
Right. The dragons are all gone. The dragons have died off, so they're not hoarding gold like in Game of Thrones or whatever show that is.
No, well, they only eat gold. That's what they survive on, actually. That's a misconception.
That's why they hoard it all.
Yeah, they don't eat people. They actually survive on gold and diamonds. Yeah.
Let's pivot back to
That's from It's Always Sunny, by the way. I stole that, so.
I was wondering where that came from.
Let's talk about fucking real things.
Let's pivot.
Like metalcore and breakdowns.
Yeah, if you've stayed with us for the first 20 minutes of this podcast. So yeah, you guys had a busy year last year, even though you were not really touring. You did an album, and you also released a little split with Silent Planet, right? Yes. This year.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Is there more to come with that project, as far as like the Silent Planet Fit for a King split, or is it just the two songs and done?
Just that.
Okay.
Yeah, there won't be more stuff with them, but we'll probably do some more fun stuff. The collaboration is just so much fun because we did it a while back with We Came as Romans. That was the first one that we did. And when you look at the YouTube comments and you see people go, well, who's Dave Stevens? Well, who's Ryan Kirby? What is Fit for a King? What is We Came as Romans? And then I think about, wait, so you're telling me there's someone that listens to one of these bands, listens to metalcore, and doesn't know what the other band, at least has never even heard of it?
Yeah.
That's insane. So that shows that there's a problem. Mm-hmm. You have to find a way for all of these people to actually absorb your band and to see your band. So what's a better way than just going and giving songs that you've had out for a while a new life by going and having your friend go and sing on it, and then exposing people to Silent Planet and people being exposed to Fit for a King, vice versa.
Right.
It's a lot of fun, and it's not hard to do because the songs already exist.
Yeah.
So just go sing on it.
Just play with
you got the instrumentals. So we just like to do it instead of just doing merch collaborations because I think it aids the entire thing. So it makes it seem a little more inclusive and fun. And we've just had a fucking blast with it, man. It's been really cool to do.
It's
we
crazy.
Got another one coming.
Ooh, spoiler alert, depending on when this is released, like sometime in June or July, whatever. But, maybe not spoiler alert. Maybe you've already heard it. But either way, it's crazy how far behind, rock is with the other genres. Because I feel like collaborations are aplenty in every other genre. Yeah. And I just did a podcast recently with somebody who's also not in a band, but in the business. And we were talking about the differences with all that and how far back, metal is even more so than rock. But, I don't know if it's this whole like the tough guy scene thing about like being macho to where like, we don't need to collaborate with other artists to do this, that, or the other. But I feel like the pandemic and everything has definitely switched a lot of people's mindsets into thinking like, no, we have to pivot because obviously if we're not doing A, B, or C for income, then like we're screwed. And then our marketing, like, marketing is something that bands never really took seriously until recently too. So like, it's cool to see them like hop on board, and it'd be interesting to see like how that affects the scene going forward too.
Yeah, it's something I'm very, very into. I've been focusing on that a lot this year with our company Featured X. And this, going to originally what you stated, a lot of people, they focus on the art and the integrity that goes into what they're creating. And a lot of the times they only want someone to touch their song if they have a very personal connection with them. Mm-hmm. And I'm totally into that. I think where a lot of artists in general miss the boat is, well, we have a lot of fans, right? We've created a pretty large fan base. And a lot of those fans have up and coming projects and they're trying to make it. So what's a better way to help a band to break through while also only sticking to working on music that you deem is great? You listen to it first and then decide, is this a really great song and would I suit this? So that's one way of, I guess, looking at it in terms of you are a singer, guitar player, bassist, drummer, whatever. You're a musician first and foremost, right? So if you want that to be your job, you can do it as such if you'd like to. But at the core of it, collaboration and why hip hop is so far ahead is because you'll have certain songs that have multiple people on it, and you're constantly combining already quite large fan bases. But a lot of people also can skyrocket into the limelight very quickly, like an NBA YoungBoy, because they release a ton of songs, a ton of content, feature on a bunch of stuff, have people featured on a bunch of stuff, put out like 18 songs in an 8-month period, and blow the fuck up. But I also look at that as, well, that guy's got to be working way harder than everybody else, right? Because putting out that much material takes a lot of work. And obviously when you're a mainstream major label artist, you have a lot of money backing you. You have a bigger team. You have more ability to pull these things off. He's just going into the studio and singing on stuff until it's there. And that's fantastic. But I just love the idea of constantly being able to reach new audiences. And in a great current example is the Machine Gun Kelly, Travis Barker, Kellen Quinn, and then they went and played on Ellen. And whether you like any of those artists or not, they played on fucking Ellen. Yeah. And whether you like Ellen or not, because obviously that's a controversial topic in and of itself as well. True. It's reaching major mainstream audiences, getting very large radio play. And that's helpful in the grand scheme of things because you're combining a bunch of audiences. Now, has Travis Barker been on a couple too many songs this year? Yeah, maybe. But
well,
I'm not. Yeah. I didn't know out of the three which one you were reacting to. Which also,
all of them maybe.
Well, I've worked with Kellen a lot on Featured X.
Okay, well, I don't think I haven't.
Yeah,
not that
one.
Not him.
And love Sleeping with Sirens. I actually fucking do really like that band because I love screamo and post hardcore. And it's fucking awesome.
Of course.
And obviously I know we're on the fucking Vanflip fucking podcast.
There's no such thing as screamo or
the Machine Gun Kelly thing is just an anomaly to me where I think the one thing I'll take away from it that I want it to encourage other people is that guy does not have a great singing voice. He does not have a great singing range, but he has a unique voice and he knows how to use it. And a lot of people hear these, the Adeles of the world to Anthony Greens, and they're like, well, how the fuck can I? You don't have to do that. They're just doing them. Do you? Yeah. Hate it or love it. I think he's doing him to whatever. Did he get punked out of hip hop?
I hope you're being.
Maybe.
I hope you're right. I hope he is doing him, but to me, it doesn't sound or look like he's doing him. That's the only problem that I have with the project, right?
Yeah, No comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'll state, I think Kellen is a fucking awesome human. I think he's incredibly nice, and I am glad for the success that
I wasn't
song has
aware that he
created.
was a part of the project, to be honest with you. I knew that Travis was.
He's just on the latest song.
Okay.
Because Travis has been on a ton of them. He's just he's got features on a bunch of the different songs and stuff like that. That's just their latest one, which is interesting. But yeah, the MGK thing, man, it's wild. I don't,
A lot of people.
I'm more right now. My pop thing I like Olivia Rodrigo. If you haven't listened to that record, that shit's fire.
Yeah,
Songs are great.
that name's been popping up all over the place.
Yeah, that's just really good, man.
It's just I like like we were getting into kind of like artist stuff and whatnot. Like I kind of like real shit, right? Like I'm more attracted to real shit. There are times when I'll go around and like mess with other pop acts and stuff like that I know. Come on, Limp Bizkit is one of the biggest bands for me. I'm fully aware of what the situation is. It's a band that was put together, right? And then they did a certain thing for, you know what I mean? It wasn't like these 5 dudes ended up getting together. They just happened to get Everlast or House of Pain's DJ. You know what I mean? Like there's things that are set in motion. So I understand that.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Well, and Fred's kind of like the mastermind of the group. Now they're all like great musicians, and they went to like music school and stuff like that here in town because they're from my hometown. So that's another reason why I'm so big into it. But
no, that's cool. Yeah, on my personal listening time, I'm more drawn to a Manchester Orchestra type band, and that's where my side project more so comes from.
I may have an in for you with them.
Oh, dude, don't even.
My brother-in-law is like best friends with all of them. They're at his wedding and everything like that. So it's all. He was at the recording studio with Paris, or who was it? Paris Jackson.
Oh yeah, he just did that. Andy just did a song with her.
Yeah, I think he was at the studio when they were recording the album. She may have been there or something like that. So yeah, it's cool. It's been cool to see that band because I met them like 10 plus years ago, and it's been cool to see their trajectory.
Yeah, they're one of those bands that for me, I still. Last time I got to see them, they did it was a headliner with Tiger's Jaw and Foxing, and it's one of those like, I went, got a hotel, drove to the Palladium, had a couple drinks up in the balcony and sat and watched them because I just adore that band so much, and I think that they're perfect because I wasn't a huge fan of the earlier records, but Black Mile. I think that record is 10 out of 10 perfect. Yeah. And at least I think a lot of time music is time and place and when it strikes you. And I think that currently where I'm at in my life, I can relate to a lot of what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like the whole record, the new record is just crazy good quality.
Yeah, he showed it to, my brother-in-law showed it to me a couple months ago prior to it being released because he had a copy of it, obviously. Yeah. But and again, like I never was really into their earlier stuff either. But I didn't listen to Mars Volta either until literally last month. So and now they're
no shit.
Now that I'm like D-Louse in the Comatorium or whatever is like my favorite fucking record at the time. So like, the pandemic has given me time to like look at other music that I may have like accidentally or purposely passed up on, and there's bands that I never gave a shot or that I listened to at the time that I didn't really like, and now 20 years or 15 years later I'm like, oh yeah, this is dope. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I get pretty stuck on stuff that I'm really into where I'm that kind of creature where I'll watch It's Always Sunny till all day, every day, just because I can hear it and I see it. And I can listen to, certain records on repeat all the time. They are constantly pleasing to me. And that's where, dating back to what I said about Olivia Rodrigo, that's the thing, man, that makes her different than all other current pop records, where the only other person I really like that is Casey Musgraves. Okay. Because that Casey's record is just, it sounds legit. You listen to it, you can picture it. I'm sure there are tons of writers on it. I'm sure there's lots of people that helped, all that stuff, but it feels really authentic. And then I'm like, well, as just me in this world, if I'm relating to what this girl's saying and I'm really into it, I think that's special. And then, Olivia Rodrigo is like an 18-year-old, like TikTok kid or something. But I listened to that driver's license song. And then, but you got to start from the top of the record because the first song also is like, what, this girl like listened to Bikini Kill and then made a song, and I like it because it's not it's not as stereotypical as I thought. It was a very surprising record to me, and I love when that happens. But yeah, it's just been so much music this year, so much content to absorb while people have been home. It's been an overload.
And you brought up TikTok, and that's actually like a big thing, right now, especially for artists and music in general. I mean, if you get if the 15 seconds of your song is, used as like a meme, so to speak, a quote unquote meme, you're like the driver's license song. That's the only reason I know about it is because I don't even have TikTok on my phone. I just YouTube,
likewise, I don't have
YouTube it. I go top TikToks for this week or this year, month or whatever. And then I'll see and hear the same songs over and over again. And then some people also post it to their reels on Instagram, which I do have. So I've actually, I can admit I've looked up.
It helps a lot of people. It brought that Bring Me the Horizon song back into the charts, and then helps All Time Low and shit, all these bands and stuff. That's cool. I haven't made one yet. I'm like, it would be fun. I would have a good time doing it. I think Brendan Murphy's is fucking hilarious.
He's great.
Some people have a great approach to it where it's my kind of comedy.
It just, I feel like I'm funny, but I feel like if I try, I've had Instagram and people have always been like, you should do something like that. I'm like, I don't like thinking of things like that.
Listen to this.
I'm just funny.
That's your thing.
Yeah, but I'm just funny. If you say something, I can get you a quip real quick or a joke real quick. I'm not let me write out the skit. That's not the type of humor that I get into. But I enjoy it. Like you said, Brendan's is fucking hilarious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just he's awkward. He comes across as this awkward, funny guy. And it just works so good.
Yeah, he's got a fantastic approach. So it takes, and I get that there will always be new avenues that people have to use to get their music out there. Would it be advantageous if For King had a TikTok and shit really went off for our When Everything Means Nothing or Death Grip or some shit like that? 100%.
Well, it's also going to touch base with a different age group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a different age group that is in that platform, so to speak. You know what I mean? So if you want to get a younger age group, yeah, for sure. I think that's something that, metal and hardcore should definitely take the time to do. And, and again, we talked about it, we're behind the times for the most part, but these are I don't want to get a TikTok, but it'd probably be, like you said, advantageous for Lambgoat to have one, right?
Yeah, one of the bands I manage is band Left to Suffer. They're super heavy, metalcore, deathcore band. Taylor, he's all over TikTok. He's fucking hilarious. He puts his growlies and fucking gutturals and shit on there and does covers, and he's great at it, but he's also 21 years old.
Yeah.
And he's having a great time doing it. And I love watching him do it. And as his manager, I think it's great. But we're just in different places in our lives at the moment. But I love it. I think it's super. It's been very, very, it's been very helpful for the band.
For sure. And they're the Georgia band, right?
Yes, they're from Atlanta.
Yeah, we had we did their video premiere a year or two ago.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, Jeff, my business partner, him and I co-managed the band.
Awesome.
And we founded Featured X together, and we've been best buds for 16 years or something like that. We grew up in New York together, and he's a good guy, having fun.
Is Featured X, do you manage artists on there too? Or is it just, because, explain Featured X to everybody, because that's something that I wanted to get into, and we kind of touched a little bit on it with the collaboration talk a little bit ago.
So Featured X is a platform where you can go and hire your favorite singer, guitar player, bassist, or drummer to do a feature or session work on your music. So you can go on there and see if you like Fit for a King and you want Ryan Kirby to scream on your song. You can go there, click on Ryan Kirby, send him your song, and send him your lyrics, timestamp of what you'd like him to sing on, and he will log into his profile, listen to it, message you back, see if he's into it or not, and accept or decline. If he accepts, you pay the artist, he sings on the song, you get it back. There you go.
Yeah,
all done.
Awesome.
So we made essentially it was a platform where you get to avoid the red tape. If you want to work with these artists are willing to work with you. It has about like a 35 or 40% completion rating. So a good amount of the stuff does go through. But but I just like that it's all based off the music. Let me listen to the thing first. If I vibe with the song, then sure, let's give it a go. So yeah, that's the main idea behind the project.
That's cool. Who are some of the biggest people that you have on there? I did see you had Sonny from POD on there, so that's that's kind of big market. Not saying that Ryan's not big market either, but there's a different threshold to everything, right?
Yeah, Sonny was he is one of the more notable art. I guess our two like big active rock guys would be like him or Ronnie from Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. But Sonny has been awesome to work with. Really, really nice guy. And the number one artists really have probably been Kellen Quinn and Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills.
Cool.
Kellen kept his rate very affordable and got just crazy amount of offers and just picked his favorite songs. And then Spencer he's just gotten a shit ton of offers the whole time through. And we kind of gauged it each time and had to keep altering it and stuff like that. But again, a good friend of mine and someone I very much enjoy working with. I'd say those two have been the most popular. Shane Told from Silverstein gets a lot. Frankie from Amir has been doing well since he joined us. It's a lot of fun, man. I just love watching the background because I can listen to everything too. Right. And it's helped me discover a lot of bands because at the beginning, we just had an application process on the site. I had recruited the original 60 people and then kept going. And once we opened up the application process, I was just so surprised to see some of the people that applied on their own and were from notable bands that I really enjoyed and respected. And I was just like, holy shit. Like, for instance, when we didn't put up bassists until Killian Duarte applied. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, well, now I have to. I was like, I'm a massive fan of him. So we got to put these up because he's the best.
Right.
And that's the stuff that got me so excited to work on it the whole way through because it was a big project for this year. And it came on very quickly from idea to inception. We launched within 5 weeks after Jeff had his stupid shower idea. So it just went.
That's where the good ideas come from,
Yeah, he just called me we talk every day all the time. And we were talking about Left to Suffer one morning and talking about the On Death EP that just came out now. So for everyone listening that's thinking about how should I be planning my band? Yes, we were talking a year ago about the thing that we were going to do last week. So think about that. So
and there's a lot of downtime between that and it wasn't a regular
year. Yeah, you can create a whole business, sell it, and still work on it. So we were talking about the On Death EP and talking about features that we wanted to have, which were Lockie from Alpha Wolf, Rio from Crystal Lake, and Tom Barber from Chelsea Grin. And then Jeff was like, man, it would be so cool if there was just like a site where you could hire these people and like not have to deal with the bullshit and just get to it. And I was like, that was definitely the best idea you've ever had, dude. And he was like, yeah? I was like, yeah. Hold on. And I called Kirby and I was like, Kirby, if we do this thing, will you do it? If we make it? He's like, yeah. So I hit up a couple more friends like Levi, Telly, like a couple people. And I was like, hey, if I make this thing, will you do it? And they're like, yeah, sounds good. And, originally we were going to launch with 13 because we wanted it to be like a quirky, silly number. And then we were like, all right, all of a sudden we had 60 people who we were like, thought were really cool and would do well. And it's just been a blast, dude, because it's a lot of it's just working with my friends, and we all lost our income this year. And a lot of us, we were 5 days into a world tour. And if you think that a whole trailer's worth of gear or merchandise and shit just disappears in a day, you're out of your goddamn mind. So there's a lot financially that bands were going through, and I knew it personally. So when Jeff had the idea, I was like, well, so a lot of my friends, if they sing 2 songs a month, they'll at least pay their rent and they'll, stay okay. And that was what I was proud of, where everywhere from freaking South Africa to New Jersey, we helped people get through this year. We turned off the percentage that we take for a good like 3 or 4 months, just because it was like, well, everyone's so fucked. What are we gonna do? Like,
Right.
I was on unemployment, so I was just sitting here working on it anyway. And it's just a blast, dude. It's a lot of fun to do.
It's kind of like a cooler version of Cameo, but for artists, you know?
Yeah, it's very, very similar. And, that at a time when Cameo has had such a success, I was glad to see that we were able to create our own little market for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the fans of these bands have had a really enjoyable time getting to connect with, people that they admire. If I can get Jeff Rickley on here to come sing on my shit, I'm going to have a good time too. Dustin Kensrue, I know you're listening and you want to be my best friend. So, that's the thing. It all comes from strategy and admiration.
Mm-hmm.
We're all lucky if we get to work with someone like when Fit for a King got Jake Lures on a song. I was like, fuck, that's so cool. I fucking love Jake Lures.
Yeah, he's a good vocalist for sure, and you
just want to work with people you're a fan of. You know what I mean? And I think that's something super special because times will come and go, t-shirts will fade, but that song, you can have that song forever. You'll forever remember the time like I interacted with this person that I look up to and had on my art. And if you're an artist, I think that that's a super special thing.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Get Tucked podcast. You're creeping up in my little realm here, stepping on my little toes here every now and then.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I'm also drinking out of a State of the Scene podcast mug at the moment.
Okay, we'll shout them out too. State of the Scene.
There you go. Marcos and Sam. There you go, guys.
They definitely have a pulse on like the up and coming, like if Metalcore was still a thing. They have they have like the pulse on that.
And like the pop meet scene stuff, like all the Metalcore shit, like they've got their own market they do, and that's why I love listening to it. Is I hear about new bands all the time, and they've been kind and talking about Featured X too, which is cool. And it's always interesting listening to shit about your own bands or whatever, but that's why I'm like, well, maybe if I'm really nice to all these people all the time, they will give my bands better reviews.
How's that working out?
Dude, it's, here's the thing is when you write a flawless, awesome fucking anthemic record, it's the best metalcore record of the whole year. Like it's hard for people not to like it. Right. And, well, that's what we did. So, we're the best metalcore band on the whole planet.
Right. You invented it. You started it before everybody else, and
we did it before we did. I was gonna
drag and Trey you into it
again. I'm not gonna do that.
So the podcast, Get Tucked.
Troll the world.
Yeah, exactly. Where did you get the idea to do a podcast? I mean, obviously, everyone has one these days. It feels like so. Yes. You just kind of said screw it and you started doing it. And what's the goal behind the podcast? Like if someone, like, I don't know, explain it to someone who's never heard it.
Okay, so originally I was going to do it on our tours, and I thought it would be a fun way to have people get to know behind the scenes, the people that are on the tours, not just if I'm going to go see a show with Fit for the Kings and Silent Planet and blah, 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 or whatever, like, well, let me get to know all the members behind the mask. And that's originally what I wanted to do. And then all this shit happened. So I was like, well, I'm still going to do it. And it's just been a lot of fun. Like I wanted a way to show myself in a more authentic manner. Because I think over the years, especially with a lot of the stuff like we talked about earlier, religion, all this kind of shit, you're a guy from New York and you just fucking joined this band from Texas and the scene's different and you're learning your way and you're trying to interact with so many new humans every day. And, I look back on some of the stuff I've done and I've said, and I just wanted people to really get to know me for me, right, and not just the me that I thought I had to be when I first joined the band and then the V that slowly started to come out. And that's why I went with the name I did, because I was like, well, if you see the name Get Tucked and you're too stupid to understand that I'm alluding to go fuck yourself, then first of all, we have a problem.
Right.
And, quickly when listening to the show, you probably won't go 5 or 10 minutes without me making some stupid joke or going off on a random tangent. And the goal is to provide information that I have about things that I enjoy and have learned along the way as someone that I think I've been very blessed and lucky to be in the position I'm in through friendships, hard work, and persistence. So now I've gotten to be around a guy like Ryan and my manager Corey for a long time, and they're some smart motherfuckers. So if other people can hear the stuff that they tell me, then that will probably help some more people in the long run, while also getting my friends on the show, sharing their knowledge, and showcasing them for who I see them as on tour. And not just, well, let's sit here and have a conversation about. I'm like, no, I want this person on the show because I think they're fun as fuck and I think they're going to have a good time. And since we haven't been on the road, I've talked to people that I didn't know or didn't meet before, like you and I today. And it's fucking weird. I like it. And you have,
it's weird.
You have times it's slow and you have to warm them up or you're a little unsure of the conversations. But for the most part, I've had a great time doing it. And I don't know, it's just a fun thing to do.
You're a couple handful of episodes in, right? Like how many episodes do you have out? Like
54.
54?
Yeah, I've been slow this year. I did 52 in the year.
Okay.
So
that's more than I've done in a year, so kudos to that. I'm trying to get to the 52 episodes a year. And we're on track this year. But again, I'm sure you run the podcast yourself, like I run this podcast well myself.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it, and I don't necessarily get to talk to people that on this podcast or in general that do podcasts. So it is very, it's strange because, like you said, since the pandemic, I've been doing these remote as well. But prior to, they were all in person, and I felt like in person was a little bit easier because like our interactions are only based on like Twitter for the most part, and that's not we don't talk every week even that. So like when today is the first day we've actually had an actual conversation and we just popped up on this Zoom call, you know what I mean? And like, you do have to navigate that. You have to get used to navigating like that and warming the waters up and all that stuff. So it does take time. And that was one of the things that I hated when I first started it. I would get so, I don't know, angsty about it, or not angsty, but like nervous in a way that I shouldn't have been nervous, but like it is kind of nerve wracking, because like, this is all going to be out for anyone and everyone to listen to. And I don't edit the podcast one bit. So it's like,
very cool.
When we do it, that's what it is. And that's all it's going to be. So like if I screw up or goof up, which clearly I do on the regular on this thing, it just is out there. So it's one of those things that's really cool to see that, you also might have the same issues. And I don't know how much, because your guests, do you know all your guests ahead of time?
No.
I've
started to dip outside the pool a little bit. Some of a good chunk of them, I have a previous relationship with, but then there's, years like this where I don't really know a Rory Rodriguez from, Dayseeker or something like that. But the band's super hot and I love the band and I just want to talk to him and ask him questions. And I only want to talk to people that I'm genuinely interested in talking to because I'm excited about them. Because first and foremost, throughout this entire experience, I am a fan of music. I fucking love music. I am like, when you brought up like, oh, I might have a connection to Manchester. It's like, honestly, do I even like, I want to meet them, but I like don't even want to meet them because they're a mythical star in the sky to me. Yeah. I still feel that way. And it's that love for music that keeps me in this delusional mindset that allows me to live this blissful life. And I like it. I took the fucking blue pill. I'm in the matrix and I'm having a great time. I hope crypto makes me billions of dollars and I'm fucking rich and screamo until I'm dead.
Right. There you go.
There you go.
How much research do you do prior to your episode with the guest, whether you know them or not? Or do you try to make it like a more casual conversation type thing?
No, I like to do some research. I like to go back and listen to the discography. I like to try to listen to other podcasts that they've done. So that way I don't ask the same questions everyone else has asked. Like you know, if I'm going to interview somebody that Finn's already done, like I'm 100% going to listen to Finn's and make sure I don't ask any of the questions that Finn asked, because I want people to like my conversation for my conversation and not, I want them to listen to both and gain so much knowledge about the artist. Mm-hmm. And as an avid listener of podcasts, which I'm pretty into, I listen to a lot. I'd say more so than music probably these days, honestly.
That's the bummer. It's like, how do you deviate the time between either or? Because like
gym.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm not in the gym, so that's not going to help me. But it's just one of those things where I'm finding that I'm listening to more and more podcasts, and like, I started dabbling into the sports podcast, which is going to be a big problem, because then I'm going to like,
oh, I can't do that. But dude, I had this year's been funny for me, man. So, you know the whole sports card craze that's going on? Are you like a real sports guy? You know?
Collecting cards. I have like a whole set of baseball cards right here, but that's the first kind of cards that I've collected in many, many, many years. But I'm well aware of like it's popping off right now, especially with like the NFT stuff going on too.
So I've been going through my whole collection that I had when I was a kid and trying to find stuff. And I found a fucking Tom Brady rookie card in like mint condition that I have to get graded. And it's worth a shit ton of money. And I'm stoked.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. All my cards are fucking gone, dude. I don't know where they are from my childhood.
Oh, no way, dude. That sucks. Yeah, it's crazy. My parents luckily have let me keep some shit at their house over the year. Like living in Brooklyn, it's not like there's much room for anything, but I got lucky. But it's funny, you go through thousands of these little pieces of cardboard and just like, maybe I'll find that one thing that's worth something. Then you see all these people going crazy over Pokemon cards and shit. And then you go to Target one day and you're like, I'm going to buy some Pokemon cards.
No, you won't.
There's a child in front of you with his grandma, and the grandma goes, do you have any Pokemon cards? And then they go, sorry, ma'am, we're all sold out. And then you're like, oh, I'm not going to buy any more Pokemon cards. I feel like a bad person.
I think, Target and everybody and all those kind of wholesalers, they definitely are getting... There's a whole thing going on where like
you can only buy them online now.
Yeah.
Now they stopped selling them in the stores.
Getting too many fights.
At least the ones near me. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
crazy psychopaths. But
it's weird how everything is just like everything collectible gets to like a very weird point. Like I collect vinyl and CDs because I'm an idiot, and it just gets really weird. Like how much money do I really want to spend on a vinyl? You know,
did you see Spirit Box sold out all their vinyl yesterday?
I already got one.
You got one?
Yeah, I got one.
See, that's going to be a collectible item, though.
Yeah, I know.
First pressing and that shit.
And it's autographed. The Newberry ones were autographed. There were 750 of them. So of course,
Newberry Comics.
Yeah.
Where? Oh.
Well, they were selling it's pre-order, right? Because it doesn't come out until September or something. So like, they were selling 750 copies of an autographed vinyl, and that's the only outlet that had them. And then, of course, like the band's web store sold out, fairly quick. But you could still purchase the Newberry Comics one. So I was like, I'm going to get that one for sure. And then, speaking of which, Body Snatcher today also announced that they released the Heavy Void album, 500 copies or something like that. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to buy that one too. So.
Oh, that's sick. I heard the song that they put out today, the one that's like starts with like something bitch motherfucker. It's awesome. It's like fucking, I forget. I saw a comment the other day that was like, oh shit, Bucket Hat Kyle is out. I'm like, that's so fitting. Band's awesome. I hope wait, this isn't going to come out for a while, right?
Like late June, early July.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, they're good. Did they announce the tour today?
I don't know.
All right, they're announcing a tour. Left to Suffer's opening it. It's going to be fucking sick.
Dope. And that probably will come around my area since, I'm in between both of those bands. So hopefully they kind of stop in North Florida. So that'd be dope.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Speaking of tours, you guys have a tour coming up too now.
Yes.
You announced one. I think we've had almost everybody on that tour on this podcast.
Very nice.
It's
a bunch of nice, lovely chaps.
Right.
You just had JT and Era on recent. JT and fucking Shred Guy. Right. Jesse. Jesus.
Yeah. And then we had JB from August Burns Red. We haven't had like Moss. We haven't had them on, but.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there.
They're great. Love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a bro tour. We've all toured together in some capacity, so it'll be very fun. Everyone's got new records since the last time we toured, so that will be nice as well. Yeah, it's interesting seeing these tours shape up because a lot of people are like being a bit critical of some, not ours. Luckily enough, it was really nice. Everyone's just like, "That's a very fucking metalcore tour," and we're, yeah, absolutely, good job, ABR. But there's no European, UK, Australian, Japanese bands that are allowed into the country. So when you are putting together these lineups, it's very limiting. How do you put together a metalcore lineup without Polaris or Crystal Lake? I don't know. You know, all this shit. So it's very interesting to see all the stuff that's shaped up for this fall, and I think it's going to smash.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I will be able to see the entire tour, but I'm going to be in Birmingham for Furnace Fest. So I mean,
Hell yeah!
I know August Burns Red's playing that. I'm not completely.
What day are you going to?
All of them, dude.
Oh, we're playing day 3 too.
Okay, so yeah, the whole tour is playing that day.
I don't know if Moths is on it. No,
Moths isn't. You're right.
But I think Air is on it.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, then 3 of us are on that day 3 Furnace Fest, which I wish I could go to the first 2. I would mosh so hard to Beloved on day 2. Oh my God. I've never seen that band before. I would be head walking. I would have the best time. I won't actually head walk.
It's not even like that kind of band though.
Sued. I know, but there are breakdowns. There are some fucking heavy ass breakdowns when Joe Mustin's all like, yeah, dude, and that's what's sick.
Now I've seen that band quite a few times because they're from not close by, but they're from the Carolinas, and so early on they would play Florida, and we luckily for me I had Evergreen Terrace locally here, and that brought a lot of other bands here too, right? So you know a lot of the early Eulogy and all that stuff, and so that's why I was able to get into Beloved and see them a lot more. But yeah, they haven't played in for 100 million years, so it'll be cool to see them.
Jealous. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to a lot of bands on that thing. That's like I've talked about it a million times on this podcast. It's going to be like a scene mecca, and we're all going to have to like go look.
Absolutely, they've done a really incredible job putting that thing together from inception to the final lineup, and I am just very lucky to be playing. Yeah. I can't wait to watch bands that day. And if the fact that I'm playing on the same day as a band like the Get Up Kids and shit is just fucking cool, man. Like it's going to be a really fun day for music because I miss mixed bills. Mixed bills were fun. Yeah. People need to put together more entertaining tours. As I'm just talking about how people were like, that's the most metalcore tour ever. And that's, I like to come out swinging. It's great, but it's fun seeing a good mixed bill like the Hail the Sun headliner that just got announced with like Kurt Travis and Konashi and shit. Like that's a fun day of music. I feel like back in the day it was a lot more mixed. There were a lot more mixed up tours. Like there were a lot of bands I saw that I would never have gone out to see. That they just weren't my style. And I didn't necessarily like them, but I definitely saw them and I checked them out more so than I probably would have had I just gone to their show regularly. Because like the Juliana Theory, I'm not a big fan of them, but I've seen them a handful of times because they toured with like a bunch of bands that they don't sound anything like. Same with Dashboard started by touring with heavy bands. Fucking Chris Carrabba, King of Florida, best singer on planet Earth, the most emo dude ever, hands down. Yeah, my friend's a big Dashboard fan. I'm not necessarily, but he is a huge Dashboard fan. Huge Dashboard stan over here. Oh, yeah? We'll ride or die for that guy. Yeah, that's why I played guitar. I was like, I want to play guitar. I want to sing about my emotions. Chicks are sick. Let's fucking go. Yeah. And never looked back. I'm not even an eighth of the player he is, but I have just loved every piece of music he's done. It's just it's a time and a place. Like I said, when I was in 8th grade, I just connected with his shit so much and have followed it the entire time. It's a formidable year. It's a formidable time in your life too. So, Yeah. And most people would say, why do you still listen to the band that you were listening to when you were in 8th grade? Maybe you should grow up a little bit. Maybe I should, but fuck you, dude. Like, I can do what I want. Yeah, it was Sublime's 25th, or I'm sorry, it was Bradley Knowles' 25th anniversary of his death. And
Sublime is one of those bands that I know I shouldn't like, and I know they get a lot of flack, but I love that band, man. They were like the band for me in middle school and like
Great band.
early high school, and I still to this day every week will listen to countless Sublime
Yeah.
songs. You know what I mean? And I've heard them all a million times because nothing new's come out in the last 20 plus years. So,
But then those people also should phrase it as like, wait, why do you like that band that like billions of other people like? You're such a fucking idiot.
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, I'm sorry you like Chris Carrabba. What, do you like emo or something? Yeah, I do. I think it's great. Oh, whatever. Good for you, guy.
yeah. There was a lot of gatekeeping early on in the scene, man,
Yeah.
and that's probably kind of why I didn't check out some bands, you know, and that's why it's like I probably didn't check out the Mars Volta because I felt like if I listen to the Mars Volta, they'll make fun of me or whatever. And I literally was a nu metal kid, you know, I was a big nu metal kid in middle school, and then like high school came around and I found hardcore, and I realized very quickly that these guys do not like the nu metal stuff, so that's going to fall to the wayside. I'm going to listen to that in my spare time with no one around,
Right.
and you know. But now here I am. I'm
Now every fucking hardcore guy loves new metal and it's like, yeah, like if I could, like I'd fucking.
and I said a lot of hardcore bands are starting to sound like they are influenced by nu metal, and I got a lot of flack for that because I even said like Knocked Loose is somewhat nu metal to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, new metal mixed with disembodied, and it's awesome. And man, that band is such an anomaly though, because it's incredible to see a band that can make a bunch of other bands sound like something. Where they created this whole wave, and it was so quick and organic and just happened. Where they're a total anomaly all around. Where I love that they break the system a little bit, where, you know, people like to put together tours based off of analytics and Spotify numbers and draw and all this stuff. But you could have more Spotify plays than Knocked Loose, but can you outdraw Knocked Loose?
Well, you know, Spotify plays, man. You're in the podcast game, so you probably keep up to date with like music charts on the podcast, right? Oh, good. Fucking thing. Hey, you there?
Gotcha. We're go.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
we're
good.
back.
We're back.
What
were you
saying? I
saying?
really enjoy looking at that kind of stuff. I like charts. So it's fun, but I just also like bands that just break the system, because what happens is a lot of times bands continue to get billed in a certain way because they were a big band or have achieved certain things, right? And they continue to get paid a lot, but their draw depreciates over time, right? And then you have a band that goes from, well, I know that they're opening the Stick to Your Guns tour, and have you heard of this Knocked Loose? Nope. Oh yeah, people are leaving. They just go watch this band and then they leave. And then you saw it with like the Story So Far when they first opened a Wonder Years tour, and people were like, holy shit, people are just coming for this band, and they're getting chump change to open, all this kind of shit, to now being direct support to Gojira within a very small time frame. It's remarkably inspiring, and I hope that it continues to inspire bands to seek originality.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when you're just 100% yourself. Like, you know, you ain't going to be Brian. You could try all you want. You ain't going to be that guy.
Yeah.
So,
And again, I wasn't saying like I'm not comparing them or adding the nu metal genre, you know, pin to them because it's derogatory. I love nu metal, and it's not like everything has to be rap rock.
Left to Suffer fucking loves nu metal.
Yeah, and a lot of these kids grew up on it, and I'm sure a lot of, like, you know, Brian was just on Clown of Slipknot's podcast. They grew up listening to that shit, so of course they're gonna have some kind of influence from that. But touching base back with the chart thing I was talking about, because we unfortunately got the unstable internet connection there. That's the only drawback.
Sorry about that.
That's probably mine, to be honest with you. But that's the only drawback to doing these things remote. That's all I have to say. But you're in the podcast game. Do you pay attention to the podcast charts, like the music charts?
Have never looked at it.
Oh my God! There's the top one is.
I don't even know if I'd be on there or not. I see people post.
Actually, I think you might actually. I think I might have seen you guys you on there once or twice, and it's probably like the top 200 music podcasts or music interview podcasts or whatever. But there's always
Is it on like the Spotify for artists or just on the Spotify page?
I use Chartable.
Chartable.
Yeah, that's another thing. So you might want to look into that. But
I'll check that out.
It shows you where you are in all the other charts if you chart. So
okay.
But the one I always see at the top all the
down.
time. Yeah, it's good. It's a good little service to use. But the one I see at the top all the time, I've never met anyone that listens to it. It's some Alec Baldwin post or Alec Baldwin. Here's the thing, I think, with Alec Baldwin, I've never heard anyone talk about it ever. But to bring back to what you're saying about bands that have a lot of Spotify plays, I feel like that's the number one podcast above all the other music podcasts that I actually know people talk about. That it's just sitting up top there, and I'm like, there's no way that they're actually getting real downloads or real views. You know what I mean? There's no way.
Yeah.
Because fuck that. I hate going there and seeing Alec Baldwin right at the top, and I'm like, dude, I know the numbers that Adam and No Jumper get. You know what I mean? I know the numbers they're pulling, and there's no fucking way Alec Baldwin is beating that. You know?
No way. No, Adam's just demolishing it. That is such a fun podcast to listen to and or watch. And like you noted earlier, I can't wait to listen to the Finn one. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap that. We're gonna wrap this up in a little bit. I'm gonna get back to that before I have the other guests on. But
yeah, dude. It's just been a lot of fun to do. I need to look into those charts and try to see that. I want to be more dedicated to the podcast and start doing video and stuff. But I needed at first, I just needed to learn how to do it and figure out find my voice and figure out how I wanted to be a fucking podcaster and tell people that they can go fuck themselves.
Right.
But now I've gotten it where I feel comfortable. I know I've got people that like my band and listen to my podcast or, maybe even found the podcast first and then ended up liking the band and have gotten to know me better. And so now I'm just about ready to go into pushing it some more, trying to do video with it, shit like that. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, unfortunately.
It's a lot of work, man.
Especially when you add video into the mix, so good luck with that. And for anyone else who's wanting to do a podcast, just don't do a music interview podcast because then you're going to be stepping in on our toes. So just, create
Well, the reality is they just won't do it as well because they're stupid and they're not as entertaining. So just if you're thinking to yourself, should I do a podcast? No, you shouldn't. You're a fucking idiot.
Just listen to ours. You'll get everything you need out of those.
Nah, I think honestly, every band could use one.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so many different outlets that bands need to capitalize on. That they've been behind for so long that they need to, and they probably will in the near future.
And as someone who's who did interviews for a good amount of time before I was doing them myself, if you're gonna do it, you gotta know what your lane is. You gotta know who you are. You gotta be yourself, because if you're not, people will hear it, they'll see it, they'll notice. It's boring. I don't fucking want it. I could fucking wear a suit and tie and I could give a really nice, sharp interview for everybody if I wanted to. But that's not fun. People want to hear me say, no, fuck that guy, fuck that band. If you're a singer that's pissed on a girl, you should probably not wear muscle tees, all sorts of fun stuff.
Right. No, I definitely have hot takes that I don't allow myself to express on this podcast, but yeah, it is what it is.
No, I take it to a certain level if it's only in the sense of comedy, but I don't do anything that's derogatory or not I would still say my podcast is pretty PC. I just tell a lot of people to go fuck themselves. Yeah. That's it. Because that's the thing that people are forgetting too, where everyone's like, comedy is dead. You can't fucking talk about it. No, you could talk so much shit. You could say so much stuff. You just shouldn't be a bigot.
Right.
It's really not that hard. I was having a conversation about this, the other day where it was just there are some key things to avoid. You should probably not be racist. You should not hit women or whomever you are partnered with. Domestic violence.
Right.
And there was one other one that we mentioned. Be a pedophile. Don't be a pedophile.
Yeah, those are
And
pretty
if
key
you avoid
PR,
those
yeah.
3 things, you'd be pretty good. But you should avoid those 3 things anyway. Otherwise, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just remarkable that people make that like a big deal, because you can still joke about things. You could joke about a lot of things.
Yeah,
and
it's
you'll be
also
fine,
there's healing in laughter, and like you seem to watch or be a fan of comedy. You mentioned Tom Segura before the podcast, so
Yes.
yeah, and I'm on board with like the way they look at it. It's like,
Yeah. Do you listen to YMH or anything?
That's not the one I listen to. I do watch the clips on YouTube. I'm more into the Two Bears One Cave.
Okay.
I'm into that podcast. And I don't.
Have you listened to Tom Talks?
No.
He's done so, and if you like sports shit, like he just interviewed like Deion Sanders.
Yeah,
he just interviewed.
I've seen the names on there, but I just, what I mean. Again, dude, there's so many damn fucking podcasts, and so and like
lot.
the one I listen to the most, the Rogan one, is 3 hours long. So it's like Jesus, you know what I mean? Like if I can't listen to new music or the music I even like, and all these podcasts. So I'm trying.
I haven't listened to that one as much anymore. I need to.
I haven't
back
either,
in a little
and
bit.
it's mostly because of the Spotify thing, and I can't watch it. You can't watch the whole episode.
That and the time, and it's very easy to just throw something on YouTube while I'm sitting at my desk here and like doing work and listening.
Yeah.
But I just prefer that's how I retain knowledge is through audio. I've always been a horrendous reader, not a great student. I would say I can hardly do the shit, but if I hear things, I can absorb it pretty well. So the podcasting just makes me, I don't know, it's very calming.
Yeah.
I love listening to people talk.
Do you, have you listened to Bad Friends?
No, I haven't listened to Bad Friends. I do listen to Two Bears all the time, though.
Yeah, Two Bears is one that's good because I just like both of those guys, right? I don't necessarily, I don't like Bert's podcast by himself.
Bert should shut the fuck up sometimes, but it's great when he's just doing his like super squeaky laugh like for 5 minutes. I'm like, dude, like it was funny, but it wasn't that funny.
I mean, I like it because I like that they just pan to like Tom's face or something like that, and he's got some fucking expression or something. They're great friends together. That's the thing I like about it. But
yeah, the Bill Burt one is really good too. By the way,
now Bill Burr is one that I actually have listened to, the Tuesday morning or Monday morning podcast, whatever it's called. I've done that one, and I can get through that one.
Have you listened to Bill Burt?
Yeah,
though?
I have listened to a couple of those too. There's just there's so many, and like I really started watching Bad Friends a lot with Bobby Lee and Cheeto Santino. Now their clips are just fucking constantly in my recommended, and I'm like, I'll check that out. You know what I mean? So
I need to do that.
They're a pretty good one. But again, I have so much other shit going on, and I don't watch Adam's podcast as much anymore because again, I'm not really. I used to watch that in the early days all the time. I had no idea who the guests were, but I was like, damn, this is cool. Like this guy's got his pulse on or his finger on the pulse for like every fucking cool up and coming rapper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of want to be that for like metal. I've said that before, but I'm not as cool as Adam, so there is that. But
no, you are, dude. That's the thing is, I feel like in this space where a good example was the Hot Wings, dude. Mm-hmm. Very normal guy, achieved something absolutely
I don't know
insane.
how normal. He's got like a stomach of fucking steel. He has to eat those damn Hot Wings every damn episode. So he's got some superhuman power or something.
But he's still a pretty like average human. But he's done something that's extraordinary and massive that everybody knows about, and he's gotten to speak with the biggest celebrities on the planet. It's pretty cool what you're capable of when you just like strap on and go for it. It's funny, strap on. Yeah. And you just like strap in and fucking go for it. And I think that you could totally do that. It's a 100% achievable thing. I mean, I wanted to come on your show. You didn't ask me.
Yeah,
I wanted to come on here. And that's the thing that's cool is I wanted to be on the Vanflip podcast because one, I loved when Lambgoat, when people talked a lot of shit on there, and I thought it was hilarious. And
they still do. That's not gone anywhere.
Yeah, people got a little cowardly after the anonymous thing went away, and it was like, all right, we're
Well,
gonna see what we're really saying.
I
But
know that Alex has
you know,
mentioned it before, but we do have a new redesign coming out, hopefully within the next month. So by the time this is out, it could already be out. But the new
that's
redesign,
tight.
it'll be mobile
Yeah.
friendly, so everyone's head is blown up. Their mind's blown. But
Wow.
there will be, I think there will be a version of anonymous comments that will be moderated way better. That's all I think, and I don't want to guarantee
Cool.
that, but it'll be back. And again, the redesign will be a lot. The redesign won't look like your standard other website that outlets that are out there already in the metal scene. It'll kind of stay somewhat traditional to the layout of Lambgoat,
Yeah.
simple and
It's
right to the
good for
point.
bands, honestly, because if you can read shit about yourself where people are telling you that you should die, like if you can get through that, you can get through anything else. You know what I mean? And so I like when we put out some stuff and like people tell Fit for King that they should fuck with Vanflip. I think it's hilarious.
And now now
I
you know
don't
why.
like, that's the thing. If you read like article, comments about yourself like that and you take it, which obviously sometimes it's hard not to. When I first joined the band and we put out our first record and people were just like, fuck this guy, he sucks. Well, guess what, guys? I don't sing the choruses anymore. So you got your wish. There you go, you fucking dickheads. Look in the
Hey,
future.
you know what?
But
Hey, the message boards called me fat enough to where I'm like, you know what? I probably am fat. So let me just go ahead and slim down. And then of course, you check your BMI and your fucking
there you
average
go.
weight for your height, and you're like, oh, I am kind of overweight. So
Dude, honestly, yeah, I'm the heaviest I've ever been right now.
yeah, but
I'm
you're getting
188.
the quarantine 50 or whatever they want to call it.
No, honestly, I'm getting jacked. That's what I'm getting. I'm fucking fat. I'm getting jacked. No, I eat candy and sugar like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah,
I gave it up because I was talking to Colin from God's Hate, and I was
yeah,
like, man, I just would love to give up sugar, blah 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 blah. And then he's like, just do it or something along those lines. And I was like, okay. And then somewhere in my head it just clicked, and I haven't had it. I mean, I've had it since, but like it's
yeah,
been like weeks in between. Like a I'll like give myself a cookie or like I'll have a
yeah.
Coke.
No,
Coke
I'm
was my fucking
addicted.
vice. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
slamming Cokes.
Oh, see, I don't drink soda, but every single night, my big problem is I'm a pothead, and I every night I want a candy bar, I want a Mounds bar, I want a brownie, I
That's the one
want
you're going for,
cookies.
Mounds.
Oh, Mounds is my favorite candy bar. Yeah,
Is that the one with like?
dark chocolate and coconut. It's fucking
Yeah,
fire.
I'm not a coconut guy, man.
I love coconut. Like I'll make my own macaroons just for fun because they're also really easy for everyone out there. It's just like condensed milk and shredded coconut and chocolate. It's fucking delicious, but and egg white. But yeah, I would be shredded if I didn't have such a problem, and I have zero discipline.
Mm.
So it's a real issue. Like, luckily, I get to do a lot of stuff I like for work, and that's what keeps me motivated. And I love to lift and I love to work out, but and my diet is pretty solid. I love to cook, but sugar, I fucking want it all the time. I
Yeah.
think about it all the time. So it's a problem. I've got to get over it. I think maybe when I go back to work, it'll be a lot easier because I live in fucking Brooklyn too. I got a bodega that's right
Yeah,
outside.
everything's
Like
right there.
it's so hard
As
not
you
to
say
do
that,
it.
horns are all honking going by.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fuck you and your fucking candy bar. I yeah. What's your vice out of the sugary stuff? You
Oh
said
man,
cookies or
no. It was Coca-Cola for sure. Like
okay?
Coca-Cola was a
That's
big
the main
problem
thing.
for me, and then dark chocolate, anything. And it's like chocolate in general was just like a downfall for me. And like I just would.
Yeah. Oh, I could
There's
eat
no
chocolate
stopping. There's no
every day
stopping.
for
Yeah.
the rest of my life.
Oh my god, it's so
Yeah.
fucking bad. But
It's tough. And that's the thing is I don't think people, I'm a nicotine addict for sure. I know what it's like to be addicted to something and be like, oh no, like I need to go do this or else my head, that wall,
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And me going 24 hours without chocolate it has not happened in a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, and I mean, it was tough, and it was tough for me, because again, like the cravings of it were just insane. But I started to realize that I wouldn't even enjoy drinking Coke. It was just like, how fucking fast can I slam this Coke? And then like I would make some weird remark like after slamming like 3/4 of Coke and be like, "Oh my god, that is the good shit." And like I didn't even taste any of it. You know what I mean? It just was like getting the corn fructose syrup and the caffeine and sugar into my bloodstream somehow, and then that made me feel good. But I started realizing like I'm not drinking any water. I'm just kind of having Coke and ice, and it's like, you know.
Did you trade it for anything? Are you drinking seltzer? Are you drinking coffee?
No, dude.
Did you have caffeine withdrawals? Oh, good
Yeah,
for you.
for sure.
And
100%.
Fiji. Nice pH balance. There you go.
Don't look. That's just the Fiji bottle.
Oh, okay. No. It's I drink tap water at home a lot as well. But that was one thing Ryan and I, when we're on tour, we try to get really into, because just jumping around and that kind of, it all plays into the diet and all this kind of stuff. When you're jumping around all the time, your stomach's jumping around depending on what you got in there. It causes a lot of acid reflux. A lot of acid reflux is really bad for your voice.
Yeah.
Drinking, really poor quality water creates a lot of acidity. It's like this, some water that's out there, like a Dasani, has the same acidity as a cup of coffee.
No, thank you.
And so we tried. That's the one thing people always make fun of us. They're like, "Oh, we'll get Fit for a King out there with all their fucking Essentia or fucking Fiji water out on stage." I'm like, "Yeah, bitch, that's the only thing I ask for, like, on my rider. Like, I ask for other stuff. I'm just kidding. I ask for lots of things. I want gold and money. And,
right.
No, but water is most important. If I can't get anything at all, I just would like, while I'm playing, I like to have a nice bottle of water too.
And I will say this. After giving that stuff up, and I mean, basically the only thing I definitely drink most of the time now is water. There is, like, I know a lot of people are like, "Ugh, water's just like whatever." And I'm like, yeah, it is like that. But there are times where you're like, "Oh my God, this is the fucking best."
No, water is the shit. And if you don't like water, like,
you're
fucking made of it.
Yeah.
You're fucking made of it. And I know that it's some people I think it tastes great. I really like it. But I get what people say, well, it doesn't taste good. Sure, that's fine.
But there are
times, also, you want to know what doesn't feel good? A Charlie horse.
Yeah.
Drink some water.
Yeah.
Okay. And no, I know people like that don't drink water at all. Like I don't. They never do.
I got a buddy that had kidney stones because all he drank was fucking soda, and then he drank water for a couple weeks after that, and now he's back to it.
Oh God, no, that's terrible. It's gross. It's the same thing with the high fructose corn syrup. The reason why I don't drink that shit. One, luckily, I am hyper. Was very hyper as a kid, so my parents never gave me caffeinated soda. I only drank Sprite, and the only time I do it now is if I'm ordering Chinese food because it's a treat.
Well, sometimes I feel like certain meals definitely go with, like, a Coke can go 100%. With any meal for me, but there are certain meals I'm like, damn, like a burger and fries, that's like a moment for Coke, and then I'm out here just ordering water, and I'm feeling good about myself, but part of me is like, what would really kick this off? Some like weird carbonated water with sugar and it just fizzing up your mouth.
No, the thing, just because I do enjoy health, even though I noted I'm a smoker, and I know the two are very contradictory, but I do really like diet, and I like to work out a lot. The thing that's interesting when you travel as in a band, you get to travel outside of the United States in general. People think about high fructose corn syrup, a lot of the dyes that's in the food, a lot of stuff that's legal in the United States that's illegal in other countries. Yeah. And you go to those places and you don't see a ton of people going around in wheelie carts. And that's some shit where it's like,
you're going to trigger some
people.
Now.
I wonder if the juice is in the squeeze, you know what I mean? And
yeah, I
think it's the high fructose corn syrup. So I just try to avoid it because it seems really unhealthy. There's so much. I was just gonna say again, I know I smoke. There's so much cancer, but
the way you're smoking, time out. The way you're smoking, though, we talked about earlier. That I don't necessarily think that you're as at risk as someone who's smoking cigarettes, because obviously there's definitely some other things in the cigarettes and the filter.
Yeah, I smoke like a natural tobacco and stuff like that, but I've quit before and I know how it feels when I give it up.
Yeah, it's not good that you're ingesting burning plant matter and smoke. Yeah.
But it's crazy when if I smoke a shit ton of weed, I'm fine. But you smoke all that tobacco, that shit weighs you down. It messes with you, man. Like, and I'm just a big bitch. And the fun fact is, when we were on our short tour, that, the world tour for 5 days that I went on, I actually had quit and I was doing great.
Oh.
And then the world ended.
Yeah.
And then I got home and I was like, fuck this.
I'm bored. I'm super bored. What can I do?
The first 2 weeks I was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. I had a blunt here and there, just like, a little treat, but I didn't smoke any loose tobacco. And then when everything got elongated, I was like, well, what else am I going to do?
Yeah,
I better get right back on the horse. And
So I'll quit another time later on. You know what I mean? When everything opens back up.
yeah, when I go back, I'll do it then.
Well, Tuck, man, I hate to do it, but we got to cut it off because I got another one of these scheduled in a little bit. But yeah, man, it was great talking to you. And obviously, hopefully, once everything reconvenes, at least I know you'll be in Alabama for that day. So hopefully we can link up then. And, I'll do my best to kind of, if you want to hit me up on an email, I'll try to link you with the MO guys, we'll see what we can do. I can't promise anything, but,
No,
I got a pretty big
scenario. Yeah, in a dream scenario, hopefully Tooth and Nail opens up the checkbook. I get to go hang out with Andy and Robert for a couple days. And they just listen to my songs and help me with them and, work on, produce it. You guys can have some points. You can have all the points. I don't give a fuck. They don't make me any money anyway.
Yeah, right?
So, Manchester Orchestra. We're ending on the positive. Best fucking band. And if you haven't listened to that new record, you got to go do it.
Yeah,
It's so
it came
good.
out very recently, so it's definitely streamable. You can definitely stream that. And also, while you're streaming it, go check out Get Tucked, the podcast. Or you can stream Fit for a King. Or you can stream the
Off-Road Minivan.
Off-Road Minivan. I was going to say the Minivan
Thank you.
band.
The Minivan band.
And hopefully you won't flip that minivan because,
I hope not. Yeah, if you want a real good Vanflip story to listen to or watch, on Amazon Prime, there is a documentary called There's Something Wrong with Aunt Diane. And after you watch that, you'll understand the song Taconic and the band name a little bit better.
Cool. Well, appreciate you coming on, Tuck, a.k.a. Ryan O'Leary of Fit for a King, bass player extraordinaire. Again, man, thanks for the millionth time, I guess.
Of course, absolute pleasure. Yeah, it was absolute pleasure. And I hope you have some great chat when we get off here. And dude, keep in touch, man. I hope we link up at Furnace Fest.
Will do. Okay.
Later, bro.